Hello and welcome to Lightning Component Development Session Day 20. And this is Amit, and today we will learn how we can improve the performance of Lightning Component with the help of client-side cache. And we'll also see what are foreground and background actions and how we can include the external JavaScript libraries in our Lightning components, is that any jQuery library or any third-party library that we have written and we wanted to use in our Lightning component. And then for the live application we will be wrapping up the project. That means we will be completing the proceed to checkout button with the place orders. So let's go ahead and see what is client-side cache. So client-side cache is basically what it does. It stores the information in on the client side, on the server, on a client side, and if you wanted to get that information, we can simply use that information with the help of that cache. We don't need to make any server calls to get the information. And for implementing the storable actions, the behavior is completely dependent upon two parameters. First one is expiration age, the maximum age of the cache response. Like what is the maximum age that cache will be deciding in our client side. By default, the maximum age is 900 seconds, and we cannot change it as it is provided by the Salesforce itself. And then second parameter is refresh age. When we say that refresh age, the refresh age is the maximum age the cache response will be considered fresh. That means if the refresh age is greater than if the refresh rate is greater than whenever we are making the cache, making the call for the cache, it will call the server for getting the response, and then it will set the new response to the cache, and then it will set back to the response to the Lightning component. So how what is the maximum time? The maximum time for refresh age is 30 seconds. So how it does work? We have three scenarios, so let's see all the scenarios one by one. So scenario 1, the response is not available in the cache or has expired. That means we don't have any response in the cache or it has been expired. That means the maximum expiration time, that is 900 seconds, has been expired. So what it does, let's say that we have a component that is making a request to the server. So what it does, first it will check for the client cache. If it does it get that client cache is not available, it will make a request, it will make a server call to the Salesforce. It will return to the response to the framework. What it does, first it will set the cache and then it will send the response to the response back to the component. So if we don't have any cache or the maximum expiration time, that is 900 seconds, has been expired, then this scenario came into the picture. Component makes the call to the framework checks the client cache returns that there is no data on the cache, then it will make the call to the Salesforce, and then it will return the response to framework will set, and then after that the data will be sent to component. Second scenario is if the response is available in the cache and doesn't need to be refreshed. That means the response is all available in the cache and it also needs to be refreshed. That means we are in the span of 30 seconds. What it will does, the component will make a request to the framework. That means it will check for the cache, it will get the response from the cache, and then on the getting this response from the cache, it will set the same to the component. That means we don't need it won't take that much time to get the response from the Salesforce, setting back the cache and then sending the response to the component. And then the third scenario is the response is available in the cache and needs to be refreshed. That means the response is available and the maximum time is found for the refresh is 30 seconds, that has been expired, and the response from the server that we are getting is also different. So how does it will look like, how does the request will be made from the client side to the server side. So first component will make a request to the framework will check for the response, For the cache, we have the cache because the maximum expiration time hasn't been expired. It will return the response, and response will be sent to the component. Now what it will make, because the maximum span of 30 seconds has been expired, the refresh time, so it will make a call to the server to get the fresh cache, and then the server will return the response to the framework. What does framework will do? First it will set the cache, whatever the refresh cache we are getting, and now it will check if the response that we are getting from the request, from the server request, is different. So what it will do, it will set the it will call the callback function again to set the refresh response to display the refresh response on the component. So in the scenario 3, if the cache is available and maximum response time has been expired and the data is also changed from the backend, then it will take then it will call the callback function 2 times. The callback function will see the number 4 and the number 8 to set the value on the component side. So these are all 3 scenarios where we can use the client side cache takes place. So now the next thing is that where we should go for the client side cache, or we should not go. So there are 3 things. If you are working with the single record only, then we need to go with the Lightning data services that we already covered for force call and record data. And if you are working with the collection of records on the third party records that are just coming, and we are not making any kind of mutable actions, that means we are not making any kind of DML in those records, we should go for client side cache. And if you wanted the complete control over the cache, then we should use the custom cache that is provided by the Salesforce. And the okay, so the best example for this is the pagination. Whenever we wanted to display some records with the help of pagination in our Salesforce, in our component, we can use client side cache, because in pagination, if you don't want to make any kind of mutable action, any DML like such that delete or update, we can use a storeable action. And if we wanted to make action, then we should not go for the storeable action. So let's see how we can make the action as a storeable. So let's open that. We have the contact list component. So in the contact list component, what we are doing, we are just displaying the contacts. We are not doing any mutable action. We are not making any DML. So what we can do in the controller to make the action as a storeable, what we need to do, there is a predefined method, that is action dot set storeable. If we call this method set storeable, our action will be called treated as a client side cache. The response that will come here in the response value that we are getting from the get return value will be cached inside like client side server, and then it will be used for the caching purpose. So now if we implement the pagination on this contact list page, it will work. The response first time it will load, it will take time, and then from the second time, we say that for the second page, next, last page, it will not take time to display the information over here, because we have the value that we are already caching into the client side cache. Okay, next are foreground and background action. So what are the foreground and background action? Mainly these are used for the helpful for chaining the multiple action to the server. When we say that chaining the multiple action, so foreground actions are those actions which takes place before the background actions has been executed. So if we see, and if you see the example of these two, so let's say that let's come to our component, that is contact list. So in the contact list component, whenever we wanted to display this contact, we wanted to show the contact or view this component, we need to make this do init action so that we can get the information. And let's say that before on the background we wanted to make some API call out to get some information from the third party, and then whenever the response is available we wanted to show that response in the component. So we can make that component, that action as a background action, so that it also doesn't affect our foreground access foreground action, because foreground actions runs into the parallel. So we don't need to for making like we can say that for handling the use case of conflict we can use background and foreground actions. So only those actions can be made as background actions, those actions not needed in case of whenever our component is being made. So let's say we can take one more example. Let's say that we are on the account detail page, and whenever we are opening any account detail page we wanted to make a API call to validate the address of accounts, if the account address is valid or not. So we can put that action as a background action, so that we don't need to see the response as immediate. If the address is not valid, then we can show some pop-up kind of information over here that the account address is not valid, or whatever the information we wanted to show over here. And let's say that we also have one more thing, that we wanted to validate the phone number, and we wanted the immediate or anything else. We can say that we wanted to get the contact records related to the contacts, and if the contact records are more than 3 or more than 10, we wanted to show some alert message. We can put that action as a foreground action. So let's see how we can make the action as a foreground. So the same thing that we uses here as a set storeable, we can use action dot set foreground. Set foreground, and then the same thing as set background. Remember that we cannot use both methods for a single action. We can only use either set background or set foreground action for a single action. And one thing that we need to remember is that once we made the action as a foreground, we cannot undo the action. That means that action will always run on the background. Sorry, on the if we make the action as a background, we cannot make that action as a foreground. It will always run on the background. So you need to be careful while using set background or foreground action. And then how we can external JS in Lightning component. So with the help of a static resource and LTNZ colon require tag. So let's say that we wanted to use the jQuery in our Lightning component. We can store that, we can upload that jQuery as a static resource, and then we can use LTNG colon require tag to store that script in the Lightning component, to use that script in the Lightning component. So let's say how it work. So let's go ahead and download the jQuery, so we can see that jQuery CDN, and then from the jQuery, okay, this is not, go back, find here, this is the CDN. We just need to copy paste this over here on the URL, and we'll get the jQuery. So now what we'll do, we will download, let's say that I'm downloading in our project, that is jQuery.main.js file. Now next what we need to do, go to the static resource, upload this image as a static upload this JavaScript file as a static resource, and then we will be using that. So let's see that static resource here, you can see static resource, click on new, and we will see that jQuery here, and then choose the file jQuery, make the control cache as a public, save it. Now we are going to use this resource, or in let's say that in the contact list. So what we need to do, we just need to do ltng colon require, and there is a tag scripts, and inside that scripts we can provide either multiple scripts or just single script. So as we have only single script, we can provide just single script. So resource, the same that we use for image, and then the name of that. And then we have also a method called after scripts loaded, and then we can also call a server side action or the client side server side action. So we can just say that loaded, let's save it. Okay, SCRIEPTS. okay, after script loaded, nope, LOA, yep, this one is. So let's go ahead implement one more method on the server side, that is just loaded, and we will only put the alert method over here. We'll say that scripts loaded. Okay, so as we are using force colon has record and the contact list, that means it component must be used inside the component of account. So let's go ahead, edit the page, and we will be removing this component and adding that contact list component over here. And then we must be able to see the alert message that the script loaded. So here what we need to do is remove this component, and after removing the component, here we can see contact list, this one. So let's go ahead, remove this. Why we are not able to? Okay, now contact list, here if this one is the main. Okay, no, so that might be first name last name do redirect. It's, I don't think that was the component. What is the name is contact list. Okay, force colon as records list. I think we need to feed it once more. We are using resource.jquery. Okay, let's go ahead, find list over here, contact list, this must be. So let's remove this. What is the name of it's all the same is contact list. Okay, the both are same. Okay, let me, okay, we also have quick contact over here, and then ltng colon require scripts quick contact without account id. You can just comment out this as of now to see. Okay, refresh this, go back to the component. You can see we are getting the alert message scripts loaded. So this is how we can use the external JavaScript, or if you wanted to use the external style sheets, you can also put one more tag, that is styles, and then you can use styles over here. Sorry, it's not style, it's styles. You can also you don't need to use ltng colon requires 2 times. Just put scripts, all the script under script section, and then styles, all the css under the style. So let's go ahead on the component library, and I will also show you how you can use multiple multiple resources at the same time, or multiple css at the same time. So you just need to go to the component library, find require ltng require, and then here you can just this one is, you can use multiple. Let's say that we have a folder, we have a zip folder that we are using multiple JS library 1, library 2. We can just simple use join, and we are joining with the separating with the comma, and then just provide whatever the JS resource library, and then path of the JavaScript whatever you wanted to give. So if you have multiple library, you can just go ahead, put on those on a single folder, make a zip file, upload this to the static resource, and use this join method to use the multiple CSS or multiple resources at a single time. So this is the basic things that we can we saw how we can use external lightning components, external JavaScript library in our component, and now you can use all the methods whatever the available in inside for the jQuery. Okay, so next is Nav Work. In the Nav Work, and earlier what we are doing, let's go back to our application, and we'll see earlier what we were doing. So here in the cart we have 5 items that are added. We are working on the apply coupon, and then we are saying that if the coupon is valid or not. So open the coupon on the other tab as well, and then we will also work on proceed to checkout. So okay, now what we need to do, okay, open this contact list. We are on cart items. Yeah, here we were here. So what we need to do, we are already here, do apply coupon. We are getting the result data as well. So if result data, we need to set, okay, so create one more attribute where we will be storing the discount amount and the discount amount, and then create another attribute that we will be using for the error discount. That means if we are getting the discount, then we will show the discount amount, otherwise we will show the error. So we dot discount amount is our result data, otherwise we will set component dot set v dot, and we'll see that coupon is not valid or expired. So let's go ahead, find the attribute is here, now this. Okay, now what we'll do, we will display these values here. Okay, here you can see is coupon applied, type here, do apply coupon, and we also use another or a if for here, or a colon if is true. That means if v dot, okay, let's take this error discount, error discount dot is not equal to null. That means there is some error. We will be displaying this value, and then we will be using aura colon else, that will be aura set attribute equal to else, and then here we will be using the second thing is that is v dot discount. So what we will type here, discount of itna has been applied to the total of your cart. So now let's go ahead here and refresh the page. And we will see what we are getting. Click here. We are not okay. So what we'll do, we'll check, we'll alert here one more, that is result data, and then we'll alert here one more, that is error, to see that if you are able to get the error or not. So we'll also see here, instead of aura set, we will be using aura if, and we'll put that discount amount is not equal to null. So we don't need to use inside that, we need to use outside. So okay, so let's go ahead now, refresh the page and see what we are able to get here. You can click on apply. After clicking on apply, are we getting any kind of error? So let's inspect, go to the console, result data is undefined, object y, nope, we are not getting the alert. Okay, let's say it side by side. Nope, not here, we want it this side. Okay. So let's see why we are not getting this. Go back to the card detail and see, and do apply coupon is the method. Go to the do apply coupon, put the alert over here, go back, refresh the page, and we'll see if you are getting any kind of error from the backend. Apply here, no. Are we able to? Okay, so this is why we are not able to call this, because we are checking one thing here, that is we can put alert, please enter your coupon number. Okay, so now it will work, we'll be able to get the error. So click here, you can see please enter your coupon number. Let's say that I'm putting some random numbers, I'm getting the success, but the value is null. That means we are here on the error section, and you can see that coupon is not valid or expired. So as we need to display this in color of red, so what we are going to do, we'll put this inside a paragraph and style as a red. So let's remove this state, remove the result data and error as well. Go back to the component, put the same inside paragraph, style it as a color red, and then we will use this inside another paragraph, and we will style the background color as a red, not red, that means background color as a green. Okay, so let's go ahead, refresh this, and see what else we are getting here. Copy this as well. Coupon, I do have a coupon. I'm going to apply. I'm saying that discount of 5 has been applied to the total of your cart. And if I remove one thing, you can see we are getting that coupon is not valid or expired. So what we need to do, as you can see, we are able to get to both success and error. So what need to do, instead of background, just make it as color. It is the dollar, so we need to put was the formatted currency as well. So as of now, let's hard code as a dollar, and here if there is success, that means there is no error, and if there is error, that means there is no success. So we were putting the null values over here. Let's now try this. Okay, first we'll try that. Please enter your coupon number. Let's enter this. Coupon is not valid or expired. Now let's go ahead here. You can see that discount of $5 has been applied to your to the total of your cart. So this is how we are applying the coupon. So what we need to do, whenever we are getting the success message, we need to hide this section, this complete section. Have a coupon apply here as well, and this text number as the apply number as well. So let's go ahead here and check. First we need to do, just make it as a bold. Now here v dot is coupon applied, that means we are able to get this, and we also need to put this complete section aura colon if is true, coupon success is coupon success. Okay, not v dot is coupon success. That means if that the value for that attribute is false, then only we need to okay, this is our if for coupon applied. We also need to hide this lightning input as well. So let's let's hide the complete para. So what we'll do, we'll just use or if copy paste from here, put that, and yep, let's create a boolean type of variable here. And now if success, if you are getting success, we are going to set it as a v dot this as a true. Otherwise, if there is no error, then it will be false. V dot this true, and if there is error, that means success is false. So now let's go ahead and try this. Apply coupon, copy the same, paste here. You can see discount of Etna has been applied to your total. Now user will not be able to apply any other coupon. So let's refresh this and check for the error as well, either we are getting the error or not. Yep, we are getting the error. So this was part of the coupon. So now what we need to do, we need to apply the proceed to checkout button. So proceed to checkout button, what will be the next step? Whenever we are clicking on the proceed to checkout, we need to select the address where the user wanted to deliver their beer. So what we'll do, first we'll put this complete section inside an or if tag. So let's say we are going to create one more attribute of boolean type. Whenever we will be clicking on proceed to checkout button, we will be making that attribute as a true so that we can hide this section. And so for selecting the address if the user has, otherwise for providing an option for creating the address. So let's go ahead here and create a new attribute on the component, and we'll name it as aura colon name will be is checkout, type will be boolean, and then okay. So let's go ahead to the button that is proceed to checkout, and now we need to use on click here, do checkout, go to the controller, create a method that is named as do checkout, and as soon as the user is clicking on that, we are going to make the value as a true, that will be v dot is checkout equal to true. And then now let's use this value for hiding the section and so in the other section. So as this is the container, we don't need to hide this complete container, we just need to hide the second one, that is size of 9. So we need to use aura colon if is true, v dot is checkout, nope, okay, this is the layout item that we wanted to hide. Okay, and if that section that means if attribute is false, no, we need to show this section if attribute is false. So let's make it as not, and then we need to show another section if attribute is true, and that section will be responsible for selecting the address, so it will be as a true. And what we will be doing, okay, we will be, let's say that, where is that, yep, let's say for as of now, let's say it as select billing shipping address. So come here, refresh the page, click on proceed to checkout button. Why it's not working? We got it checkout, we are putting as a true here. Okay, let's put alert here. No, now go back, Okay, got it. I got the problem. What the problem is that, okay, we need to use this on click over here on the button as well, because we put the button over here. This is why we are getting, and we are able to hide the section over here as well. Oops, what happened? We're not able to get the section. Okay, so let's refresh. If you click, yes, this is hiding the complete section. So let's go ahead and see this. Whatever the lighting layout item we are using here, we need to use as well inside the same. That's it, this one. Okay, now we will be able to see the section as well, because we are hiding the complete item, so we need to display the another complete item. So let's go ahead here. Now click on that. Still we are not able to get. Why? Okay, we need to use here outside that if you wanted to use here, we need to use else, because inside that if that particular the above section is false, we are not able to get executed these lines. So now we will refresh and we will see the difference. If you click, you will see select shipping or billing address and the same. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see what are the address book. We have address book here. We don't have any address book. Click on new and you will see we have a street, city, postal code, state, provenance, country, and the user who is responsible, the address related user, which address is this. Let's say that I'm the user I wanted to create, then the user will be of mine. So let's go ahead, create an attribute of address book of type address book, and we will also do one more thing, that will be we'll be querying the existing address book if there are any address book related with that user. If not, then only we'll provide an option for creating the address. So here let's find address book, create an attribute for that. So let's here create aura colon attribute name equal to address book, and type will be address book, no default values. Okay, so here now one more thing that we will do, we will create a type of attribute name equal to, we can say that address list, and then type equal to object, and here we will store all the address that are related with that user. So if that address list will be empty, then only we will provide an option to create the address for the user. So here we will check aura colon if is true, v dot this dot length is greater than 0, then we will display the list of address over here with the help of an radio button, and then otherwise aura colon set attribute, that means for handling the else condition, else, oops, we don't need to close there. Here we will provide for creating the options. What we'll do here, we will provide an option that will be lightning input. So here let's find an input, lightning colon input. We will be like taking text input with the help of label. So here street value equal to address book dot v dot address book dot whatever the field name is. Let's go ahead and find field name is street, this one. And now let's go ahead one by one. So next one is here, if you click city postal code, so we will find city here. Then we will go for the postal code. Then we will type postal code here. Then we have state and then country. So then here we have state, and then we have country. Okay, and then at the end we will be putting lightning colon button variant equal to brand, label equal to save address, on click equal to c dot do save address. Go back to the controller, create a new method that will be responsible for saving the address. So here we will be calling a method is valid address, that will be helper dot validate, so that we can validate if any if there is value for all the particular fields or not. And we will be here is valid, we will be find using the same component dot find. We can say that address dot reduce, and reduce will take two parameters. One is okay, so we can say that beer order create beer order. On the create beer order we have where we are validating. So let's copy the same code here. And now let's go ahead and put the OR ID for all those inputs here. Aura colon ID equal to address, okay, change the name here, it will be name will be street, city, postal code, state, country. Save it. Here we will check If this is valid, if address is valid, we will be getting the current user ID. We can say that user ID equal to $a dot get, and here you can use dollar s object type dot. Okay, while we are creating the order, so let's go ahead on the create beer order component controller. We are getting the current user ID, that is this one, as object type current user dot ID. So we'll be getting the current user ID and we'll be alerting at user ID. If everything goes fine, that means the validation is correct. So let's go ahead, refresh the page now. Click on proceed to checkout button. You can see that we have, and we are getting save button. We are getting the user ID 5. We are getting. Let's go back once. Is valid. Helper dot validate. Component dot find address. Reduce. Valid so far. Return true. Return is valid. We need to alert this one. And come back to the component brand ADDRESS address. Save address. We're getting true. Why? Let's try to put some default value over here. As object type this. And then comma, we'll say that here we have street, city, postal code, street, city, it's a postal code, then state, then country. It's default. Okay, on the helper we are validating this is the address AWS valid so far, and then we are checking if invalid, but input true. Component, the aura ID is same, aura colon ID. Okay, let's go back. Still we are getting true. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to put the required attribute here, and let's try again. Now if we are getting the error or not. Yep, now we are getting. So we missed the required attribute here. So let's put the required attribute for all the fields that we wanted to be filled by the users. Okay, so this is yep. Now let's go ahead and remove the alert message that we are showing here. For invalid as and user ID as well we are getting. So next step is, so as we are dealing with only single record, so what we will do, we will use the force colon record data concept for creating the address, so that we don't need to use the concept of fs class. So let's go ahead over here, open resource, we have force colon record create, so we will be using that attribute. This is not, that is what was that, LDS, we are using LDS. So let's copy these resources on this component. Okay, it's record creator, record fields, that is object. For the record fields we have address book, so let's use address book, remove this, and everything is fine. Mode will be edit, and this handler will be removed, and inside do init we are going to do one more thing, that is after subtotal here we are going to use, we are getting the template for that, so that we can get the template. So go back here on the controller, after this get the template for that. So record creator is same, we need to change the type of object will be address book, and everything is set to fine. So let's go ahead and refresh. We should be able to see the console that template has been initialized successfully. We are getting error, can't read property get new record of undefined. Okay, so it's a record creator, we have record creator, so what is the problem with that? We are using the same ID, mode it always edit, target record is record, what were the target fields that we wanted to, also specified error, address book, then what can be the error? We are also using component.find. Okay, let's oops, we need to use only this part. So let's put that at the start of the method. That is same. There is anything else? No. So let's try this. Oops, go back. You can see successfully created. So we are able to create the component successfully. So now what we need to do, on the click of save, we need to use save record, that is this one. So let's copy this paste, copy the code, as we don't over here. If this everything is successful, we have record creator, and we wanted to use record fields is not there, that is address book. We wanted to use address book, and then there is a field user that we wanted to put there, and user will be a user ID, so that we can set the value. What we are doing, component dot set we dot address book, the record, and then user value, whatever the user we have, and it will be record ID. Beer record has been, oh sorry, address book has been saved with the record ID this. Now if there is error or incomplete, okay, so let's go ahead and try to create one address book for this current user from the layout. Proceed to checkout, type 123 main state city. You can say that NC postal code, and then state will be NY, country will be USA, and then click on save address. You can see that address has been saved. So we are successfully able to save the address, and now if you'll go refresh this, we'll be able to get the address book here. AB is for that particular, who is the user that has created. So now as we are able to create the address, what we need to do is let's go ahead and first get the address list for this particular user. So as now let's close this. As we have car detail Aura services, open this class, and we will be adding one more method here, that will be at Aura enabled. This will be returning public static string fetch address book, and we will be sending a string, as we don't need to send because we have some inbuilt method. So let's say that address book address list, and select ID name from address book, where user underscore to C in user info dot get user ID. So it will always return the address. We need to street, state, city, postal code, and country. And then return with the help of json.serialize. It will make the list in the form of a string, and then we'll pass that on the JavaScript. So what is the error? Okay, it will be written. Okay, now we are going to use this for calling the method. So we will create a new method. We'll say that fetch address function component event helper where action equal to component.get v dot c as an action provider. Method name we don't need to use, then we need to use set callback. It will be this colon function that is callback function, and then send the server request. As we are just manipulating, we are not using anything, we are just manipulating getting the response, we can make this action as a storable. Okay, so now here let's go here. We already used some states, so let's reuse that. Nope, use this. Come here, inside that we will be where state response.getState. Okay, so here we are going to use state. We are not going to use this toast. Remove this. Okay, cool. So inside this we will be getting where response data, we will be using get return value, and then we will be parsing, that will be using json dot parse method for parsing the response. As this is coming into string form, we need to use as an object. We are passing this incomplete. You can just console log that system doesn't support offline, user is offline, and system doesn't support offline. And then for the error, you can get the errors with the help of response dot get error method. And then you can console error record, that will be errors. Okay, so now we need to call this method from the do init. So but why we call this method from do init? As we wanted to lazy initialize, so what we will use, another system event that is name has changed. We will be using as aura colon name, sorry, aura colon handlers name will be change, value will be whenever we are changing the value for each checkout boolean button, and then action will be c dot get address. Okay, so here is checkout, this one. Whenever value for this will be changed, and we will be checking if the value is true, then only we are going to call this action get address. So get to the controller, create a method with the help of get address. We will be getting where is true, we will be getting the value for this attribute over on the controller side, and we'll be checking component.get v.this, oops, and then we will checking here if is true. Here you can put the alert as well, and then only call helper dot fetch address to fetch the data for that particular user, whatever all the address book are there, and then create a new, did we create it? Yep, we created address list. So go back here, component dot set v dot address list, then we need to set the address whatever we are getting in the result data. So we can also console here to get either we are getting or not. Okay, so here let's go back, change this, that means refresh the page, and we will be seeing if we are able to call the method on the change of that attribute or not. Proceed to checkout, you can see it's true. Okay, we are able to, we are set storable stu is not a function. Okay, we need to use set instead of se, we need to use set. Okay, save it, go back, click on the button, true. Okay, why we are not able to get, you can see here we are successfully able to get the result data, that is we have attributes here, and we already used condition if the value is checked or not, sorry, if there is some value in the list, then don't show the particular part for creating the address. Here you can see we are checking. So if we have, that means if we have, or if, okay, inside that here we need to display the address. So what we need to do, let's use aura iterate, iterate items, items will be, and then where, and here we will be displaying that. Okay, so items will be v dot address list, and then where we can say that item and then we will be using index where, that is okay. So here we will be displaying, what is why the error is there, iterate colon iterate. Okay, that is cool. So now what we are, I think there is some iteration instead of iteration. Or a column iteration. So here we will be showing the address in the form of formatted address. So we have one attribute, we have one base component that is called as lightning colon formatted address. So we are going to use that. So let's come here, copy this formatted address and paste the same. As we have the value for street, so we are going to use the value from there. So v dot item dot, sorry, it will be item dot street underscore c. For that we have item dot city. For country we have item dot country. Item dot state, and then item dot postal code. So now let's see what if user is able to see the address in the formatted address form or not. Check out true, and you can see that user is able to see. If user click on that, that address is also opening in the Google map. So if we wanted to disable this click as we wanted to, so we have attribute here for disabling. If you go back specification section, you will see that disabled attribute, we need to use that attribute here, disabled, as a true. And we also need an radio button so that if you can select that particular address or not. So here let's find radio. Okay, lightning corner radio group. We only need one radio, so we will be using only one radio. We are going to use only lightning corner radio. So here label, we are not going to do anything. RID, let's make it whatever it is, and then we will use some attribute. Let's say that name, and the name we will be putting here index, that we can get which index has been clicked. And on change we are going to call as on select. We'll be checking here, create the method on select, and if you come back here on the component on the example section, there is a controller. You can see that on radio, so on radio we are getting dot get source v dot label. So we'll just get this one, we will just use only this. Are we get putting the label is nothing there, we will getting the name, and then we will be alerting selected, and we will also be getting one thing, that is v dot checked, that is a property. So let's alert this one as well. So here we don't have EVT, we need to use event. So what we are getting here, we are getting name, and here we are getting if the value checked, that means if selected value is true or not. So let's go ahead, refresh this. Proceed to check out. Okay, you can see that button, you can see 0. Okay, there is no such column called checked. So what we need to do, v dot checked. Okay, what are the attribute here? Value by default is false. Okay, label required indicator class, enable name text. Okay, so let's try value here. Come back, proceed to checkout. 0 true, it's not changing. Okay, it has been selected. One more thing, let's remove this. So let's go ahead, create a one more address book option, clone this 1 2 3 more cloned, save it, refresh the page. As a user may have multiple address, we wanted to be sure that the address are all the address are listed here and the user is only able to select one address. 0 true, 1 true, user is able to select both address. So how we are going to tackle this problem? So I think instead of here, you can see if you go to the example, it's selecting only one, that is radio group. So we need to use radio button group, that is this one. Name must be same. Okay, so if we test the same here with the help of name, we can say that is others. Save it, go back and see if you are able to get that user is only able to select one record. Okay, true, others true. Okay, so user is only able to select one record. So now what we need to do is we need to use other attributes for getting the index, for getting the selected address. So we have label class disabled, name, we have text, we are using value, we cannot use required, we cannot use update on. Let's try with text. Okay, text, and here we will index, and in the controller we will use add index. Okay, here come back, proceed to checkout, select one, undefined, true. It will be text instead of index. Now let's go back, refresh this page. Proceed to checkout, select this one, 1 true, 0. Yep, we are able to get the indexes now. So let's remove this. Now what we need to do, as we are getting the address below, so we need to get the address side by side. So we are going to use grid for that. So let's use, we already have some value here for grid. Or iteration, we need to use only 2. So here we are going to remove these 2. Instead of 4, make it as 2, here as well as 2. So we are not going to use anything else. Put this Now let's go back, refresh the page, and we will see. Check out. Nope, we are not able to. It's already here. We use size 1 of 2. We are already wrapping, putting the things inside our iteration. Okay, let me put this outside here. Let's try if you are able to get. But now we are able to get. Okay, so we also need to add one more button here that will be for place order, and then on clicking on that, user will be able to placing the order for placing the order. So we also need to change the button here. We need to remove this button if we are on the address selection page. So let's go ahead and hide this with the help of RIF. So here where we have button, these are not those buttons. Okay, let's copy these, come back here on the bottom section. These are those buttons. So these buttons will only be visible if we are if you are on the page where we are able to get all the list of items, all the list of beers that user has added. So let's now check, proceed to check out now. Now it's cool. So here user can select, and we will be adding one more button that will be for place order or for back. Back button will be taking us to the beer explorer. So let's add that button here. We need to add that button outside the R iteration, this one. So let's add lightning colon button, name will be place order, value will also be label. And then variant will be brand, and then on click C dot place order. That is cool. So let's go back to the controller, create a one more method, that is C dot place order. Before we go ahead implement the place order functionality, what we need to do, if this particular value checked, we need to get all address, that will be component dot get, and here inside the component, inside the helper, we need to use this we dot address list here, and we need to use selected address, whatever the address we have. So it will be all address and the index that is selected. So here we will be getting the address whatever the user had selected the address, because we need to use that address while we are placing our order. So here everything is okay. Now we are able to get the selected address as well. On the place order we need to check. Okay, so first we need to create one more attribute where we are going to store selected address. Type will be of object, and here set that selected address. V as an value provider, then attribute name, then whatever the address has been selected, and we will check. We will get that attribute if else we are going to show the alert that please select. Please select at least, please select your address. We can save it. Now let's go back, refresh this. Proceed to check out place order. You can see that place select address and nothing is happening. So one more thing that we noticed is the button place order is not showing in a correct variant, so we need to check here. There is the button. This is the formatted address. This one BRAND. Okay, so it's a brand. Now we are able to get here. We are here on the final stage of our project. Please select address. So now what if the user is creating the address? That means user is using this save address button, and then save address is, so what we need to do here, we need to use this component dot get selected address. After saving, the user is getting the message, okay, that your address has been saved. And we also need to use this, we also need to put that address in the list. So we have this address list, so we will be setting that address list here. So what is going to do with that address list, and then we have saved result here. So save result dot okay, we need to use this one, v dot address book. Component dot get v dot address book. As this is a list, so we need to use list for that. So come here, create a address list, that is this one, and then edit list dot push address book, and then we need to add this address list over here. So now what it will do, after successful creation of the address, we are adding this list to the address list, and we need to do one more thing. We need to hide the new section and show this section. So when this section will this will automatically be done by the user by the lightning Y. So let me show you. We are checking if the address list dot length is greater than 0. That means whenever we are adding the value to the address list, it will automatically be check that address list has been 0, and then it will show the information. So let's go ahead, delete these value here, both the address, and then we will not be having any address here. Okay, click on address book. This is that we don't have. Now let's go back, refresh our application, and inside our application proceed checkout. We are able to see 123 main state, NC, state NY, USA. Click on save address. You can see that address has been saved with the record ID, and then we are also able to get the address. If you click on button, please select an address because we didn't select it, and if it will be selected, we are getting the selected address here. And if you click on place order, nothing is happening. Why? Because we haven't put any logic inside that method. So here we can see, now we need to get a variable here where selected address, and then we need to check this. If selected address, then is selected, then alert selected address dot id. Let's go back here and see what happens. Proceed to checkout, select address. You can see the ID is here, so we are able to get ID because we need to use the ID. We don't need to use any other thing. So what else? Whenever user is clicking on place order, the order must be created, the cart must be closed. So we are going to call a method that will be for placing the order. So for placing the order, what information we need? We need all the items. For placing the order, we only need the address, whatever the address the particular user has added, and the cart ID for which cart the user is placing the order, and then everything is there in the order. So let's go ahead, open the beer ID, beer order. Maybe we need to modify the structure. So here on the beer order, if you open, we have beer. So now we are ordering the beer in a bulk, so we need to remove this field. The status is okay. Ordered quantity will be coming from the cart items, and then order amount will also be coming for the cart. This address will be the lookup field, so we also need to restructure this. So leave this object as well. We are going to create a new object, that is order. So this page will be used for the single beer order, and we are going to create a new object that we will say that order. So let's go ahead, create that object, orders, name, it will be order number, and instead of name it will be text, it will be auto number, it will be order 1 2 3 4 5 6 1. Add tab to the application, and save it. Now we are going to create fields. One will be which cart is related with this order, so we are going to create a look. Yep, we can say that cart, which cart is related, and then we will create field that will be address for the billing or shipping address, so we will be creating that as well. So here it will be created as a lookup relationship. We will say that shipping address, so it will be for address book. Click on next, and field label will be shipping address, and we will be creating one more lookup field, that is the user who is responsible for ordering the particular order. So it will be user. With the help of user, it will be user as well. and then we will be saying what is the order amount. So we will be creating a new field that will be a formula field that will be coming from cart, whatever the total amount is there. So it will be order amount, currency. Next we can go ahead, insert cart, and we will get whatever the total amount is there. Save it, and we will create one more, that is will be order discount. It will also be coming from the cart. Click on order discount, it will be of currency. Insert field, go back cart, you can see total discount. Next, next, and save it. So as we have few fields now, if you go back, refresh this, we will be getting one more tab that will be named as orders. So here you can see that order, we can see here as well. Okay, so here we have orders. If you click on new, you can get what is the cart, what is the shipping address, who is the user that is ordering the order. So whenever we are clicking on that place order button, we will be needing the information of the cart, that is cart ID, and then we will be needing the information of the current user and the address ID. So if you go back our component, that is cart detail, we have cart ID. So we can also use here on the controller, you can say, we can just alert component.get without cart ID, and for getting the user information we already have. If you notice that we already have user information here, we can also alert this. Okay, so let's go ahead, refresh the page. Now click on proceed checkout button. We have address, select that address, click on place order. You can see this is the address book ID, cart ID, and then the user ID. So we have all three information. We need to pass this information to the Apex class. So let's go ahead, create, that is are enabled. Oops, we need to use annotation. It will be public static. We will be sending the order ID from here. Create order. We will be getting address ID. We will also be getting cart ID, and we will also be getting user ID. Okay, so now let's go ahead, create an order object here. So it will be details, orders, new order, insert order, return order.id. Then go back to the field section. First get the cart, that is cart ID. Then get shipping address, that is address ID, and then get user, that is user ID. And here we are returning the order. So we need to call this method from our controller. So let's do this, where action equal to component dot get C as an action provider, and then the name of the method that needs to be called. Set callback. We didn't. Okay. So here we also need to use action dot set params. So we need to send the parameters. How it will be address ID. So for the address ID we have selected address.id, and then we have cart ID. So we have the cart ID, that is component.get cart ID, and then we have user ID who is placing the order, so it is user ID as well. Okay, now let's copy this complete code, use here inside that callback function. We just need to, okay, you can use this helper instead of that. Go back here, don't use this one. Now we need to use this toast. We'll be saying that the user order has been successfully placed. We don't need to use, okay, so let's say that your order placed, your tracking order number is that we'll be getting, what is that? That is response dot get return value. So we will be sending the name instead of ID of the order. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this one, because we also need to perform some more operations. We will do that. Okay, proceed to checkout, place order. You can see that your order has been placed with the tracking order number is null. Why we are getting null? Okay, we will see that. So this is what we have done for the wrapping up the project. We will also having one more session so that we can do give the finishing touch to the project. So we will see, I'll see you on the next session, guys. Thank you for watching the video.